Here's a look now at Todd's new top five. He still has Jadeveon Clowney as the best overall prospect in college football. Mariota, though, leapfrogging Louisville quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. Todd then has UCLA linebacker Anthony Barr at 4 and A&M offensive tackle Jake Matthews at 5. And here he is now, Todd McShay, with his good buddy Mel Kiper in their usual Thursday slot on SportsCenter. Todd, what made you jump Mariota past Bridgewater in your latest rankings?
I've had time the last 2 weeks to go back and study the tape of Mariota and how much he's progressed from a year ago. We've always known that he's had the talent, but he's gotten bigger and stronger. He's showing that he's making better decisions and can get in and out of his reads and progressions more. They don't have as many NFL reads and progressions as you see in some other schools and some other schemes, but when you watch the tape of those opportunities when he does, he really is getting his eyes moving quickly. He's getting from first to second, checking down. He's not turning the ball over, and he obviously has the arm, and he's become more accurate as a passer. I just think now with more experience in that system, Mel, that Mariota is just continuing to progress, and to me, his ceiling is just enormous.
He's built for today's NFL, no question about that, Todd. Bridgewater, you think about the schedule. It doesn't allow for any statement games. He didn't have Devontae Parker a few weeks ago. Gets Parker back. Copeland's had a big year, the senior. But there's no game that you're going to say, wow, look at that Teddy Bridgewater performance against that defense. He had it against Florida in the bowl game, but it hasn't carried over to the regular season because he hasn't had that type of game, that type of opponent on the schedule, where Mariota this week against UCLA with Anthony Barr leading the way, November 7th, Thursday night at Stanford against that defense. We'll see what Mariota's made of at that point in time. I think to jump him ahead of Bridgewater, for me, it would make an awful lot of sense, Todd. You're just a couple weeks ahead of probably what I'll do if he plays well in those two games, because those two right now are your elite quarterbacks. Hundley from UCLA has moved back a bit. Manziel's the wild card. So I think right now it's a Bridgewater-Mariota battle to see who will be the first quarterback taken in early May.
All right, there you go, Todd, ahead of the curve once again. That's where you live. Let's move to another quarterback that's making some noise, even though he's not draft eligible for another season, and that's redshirt freshman Jameis Winston at Florida State. He stepped up in a major way last Saturday night. He led the Noles past then number 3 Clemson. He did it in Death Valley, and as a result, his team, Florida State, now number 2 in the BCS. He's thrown 23 touchdowns to just 3 picks in his first year as the starter, and said yesterday he can get even better.
This is just the beginning. I mean, I'm trying to get better every single day, and that's one thing I love about Coach Fisher is he's not going to let me leave Florida State without being the best that I possibly can be. We know that we got to come and prepare for practice. We got to do the same thing we do every single week. We got to come ready because people are going to be trying to beat us. I mean, we're not no just rinky-dink team. People are going to be going after us. So, and we got to have that, we got to stay with that chip on our shoulder. That's one thing that I think we're doing a good job. We always coming in as the underdog. Like, we got warriors out there. We Seminoles, man.
All right, yesterday his coming out party a little bit as he gets that exposure, maybe to help him in a Heisman push. Mel and Todd have a great piece up on ESPN.com. I encourage everybody to go read it. It discusses Florida State's case to actually be ahead of Alabama and in that number 1 slot in the BCS standings. Mel, where are you on that?
Jay, I'll tell you what, I did beat McShay to the punch on Winston. 6 weeks earlier than I had him going number 1 in the 2015 draft. I'll tell you what, he put an exclamation point on that Saturday night. He is this year's version, or the next Andrew Luck. He is being talked about in those types of glowing terms. I'll tell you what, if he was eligible, he'd be the number 1 pick. We wouldn't be talking Bridgewater and Mariota. We'd only be talking about Jameis Winston. He's Andrew Luck, and everybody else would fall in behind Jameis Winston. But, hey, luckily for Florida State Seminole fans, he's got to be there this year, and he's got to be there next year. And I think he's the difference. He is special. He's a big-time prospect. He's elite, and he's made everybody better at Florida State because of his emergence at that quarterback position. You think about their depth at running back, at wide receiver. You got a tight end that can catch the ball, best offensive line in college football, Todd, and a defense with Jernigan, Jones, and Joyner. All special players at every level of defense, and a great redshirt freshman kicker in Aguayo. What are they lacking, Todd?
This is why I love you, Kiper. Jay, you see, all you have to do is throw in one ahead of the curve to me, and you get Kiper all fired up.
I knew that would get him going.
Juice is going now. Yeah, he's got. I'm telling you, he's got some junior high kid he's going to come out with next week to try to be 3 years ahead of that curve. But listen, Winston has been phenomenal, and I think ultimately, you can make a case for Alabama to be at number 1. You can make a legitimate case for Oregon, especially if they win the next 2 weeks, the Ducks against, as you mentioned, UCLA and Stanford. And I think after that victory against Clemson, the number 3 team in the country, to go down to Death Valley and absolutely shred the Tigers the way Florida State did, it's not that hard to make an argument that the Noles belong at number 1 too. So thank goodness we've got a bunch more weeks of college football to sort this thing out, because right now, I don't know how you decide between those 3 programs. And there are some other teams out there like Ohio State that can, kick and scream, and I understand that. But really the 3 teams right now, in my opinion, that belong at the top, that are the elite programs in the country right now, are Oregon, Florida State, and Alabama. And it's going to be very interesting to see how it shakes out, because Florida now is squarely in the mix with a quarterback that we trust and has proven can play big in big games, and with a defense now under Jeremy Pruitt, the first-year defensive coordinator, that's playing with a lot more discipline than we've seen in years past from this Noles defense.